What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicole.
And I'm Jordan.
And this is the Playbook Diaries podcast, where there's a story behind every single play. I'm super excited. We have an amazing guest, an amazing special for you all. A doctor of physical therapy. She's covered in Dallas Voyage magazine, has some healing hands, and a little bit of fighting hands with the jujitsu. Entrepreneur. And the owner of Built4It Athletics. We have Miss Kecie McKenzie. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, thank you.
Was the intro okay?
Intro was perfect.
Awesome.
Basically nailed every facet of my life.
Okay, so before we get started, I have a very intricate question for you. I have never met someone with your name with this hue. Where are you from? Tell us a little bit, Kecia. Like, what's going on? Where are you from?
Right, no, I get that every time I say this. I mean, imagine
I had
working with all NFL players, they look at me like, what's your name? I was like, you heard it the first time, let's keep moving.
That is my name.
But no, honestly, it's really funny. I'm actually just from a super small town in Texas.
Okay.
But growing up, I was like, I'm going to make it out of here. This is just not for me. Love the people, love my family, but I got to go. I was really just named after someone my mom just loved, the little girl's name. I've got a twin, so it was like Kecia and Carla.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so then when we moved to the
younger.
city, I realized like as a very ethnic name, I was like,
Facts.
you heard me the first time.
Yeah, when we were like, we got to interview her. I'm like, is it Kecia?
Kecia? We're like, Kecia? We're like, why girl named Kecia?
I have to ask that question. But wait, are you the older twin or the younger twin?
I'm the younger twin.
Okay, cool. So can you run down Miss Kecie on how the Playbook Diaries podcast works?
Okay, so the Playbook Diaries is split up into 4 quarters in which we ask you a series of questions. Quarter 1 is called the Combine, and that is where we see how quick you are on your feet to answer what should be commonly known questions, but they may or may not. We'll see if they're commonly known. Round 2 is the
Lottery.
The lottery. Thank you. And that is where it's all you, your personal preferences on an array of questions. And then we have quarter 3, which is the meat of the interview, our initial purpose of doing research into you and why we wanted you on the podcast, etc. So those are more in-depth questions, longer-winded questions, and then we wrap up with the 4th quarter with just some advice for yourself or advice for the podcast or rules to live by that you would like to leave the podcast with.
Awesome.
First question. What is the capital of Washington, the state?
The state of gosh.
She was like, wait, what?
Damn.
It's like, I
literally used to have this memorized. Okay.
I did too.
That's a good pick. I'll let you try one more time.
My twin sister would die. She knows every capital.
You're like, you should know that.
Damn, I don't know.
Olympia.
I would have
never guessed that. I would have said Seattle.
That's funny.
I knew it wasn't Seattle.
I knew it was Seattle because that's too much of a pick me.
Okay.
That's too much of a pick me.
Okay, what country invented tea?
Japan.
Close.
China?
Yes. Okay.
How many continents are there?
Nice. 7.
What'd you say?
How many continents are there?
How many continents or how many countries?
The thing is, I can name them.
Continents. There are 7 continents.
What'd you say? What was your answer?
There's 7. I can name them, but I said 9. That's
Yeah,
stupid.
it's
You
okay.
should ask me to name them. I could've-
It's okay. What's the largest continent?
Asia. Asia, Africa. Which way I post?
You said one of them?
You said
Is
it.
it North America?
Girl.
Africa.
It's Africa.
Yeah.
I was picturing
It's Africa?
I was picturing in my head. I'm like, Africa.
Is it Africa?
I said no and my answer was Europe.
Oh, I knew it wasn't Europe.
No, I think it's Africa.
I'm sorry.
Our executive producers will look it up. But I'm pretty sure it's Africa.
Yeah.
Okay, you doing it.
Why are we asking questions we don't know the answer to?
No.
That's so dumb.
No, but it is that is the answer.
What's the answer?
Africa.
I'm glad we started with this, so they're like, and I'm back, and I'm like, she's not as stupid.
Yeah.
It's not Africa. What is it?
Asia.
Oh, you got it. And I was like, no.
No. Both of us, no.
That means where I looked it up, it told me Africa.
Okay.
It's okay.
We need to
It's
start
They're
doing
very close.
resources.
Very close.
Whatever Google says, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. What is the largest ocean?
I mean, I got to guess on this one, but this isn't it.
That is correct.
Right. How many countries are there?
How many countries are there?
Heard it right. These are you smarter than the 5th grade questions?
Which none of the ones we asked you would a 5th grader know, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Not one.
They would know the capital of Washington.
They probably would have.
Maybe 5th grade. Maybe we'll get up to 6th grade.
Like 200 something?
You're close.
You're
195. It's only because we started going. So I'm like, let me stop.
okay. This one is a 5th grade question. What are the 3 branches of the government?
The president, the executive branch. No, that's the president.
Yeah, okay.
Executive- Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing.
It's okay.
The judicial branch.
Okay.
Supreme Court.
You said which two?
She
You
said
said executive and
branch.
judicial,
Judicial and then the House.
which
the house
is
called.
a part of. What do they write?
Legislation. Legislative.
House of Legislation.
Legislative.
Okay, so the legislative branch, executive branch, and
Judicial.
And judicial branch. Yeah, it's okay.
Last question.
We're a little bit older. We ain't gone over this.
You successful.
I
It don't
did
matter.
parliamentary procedure like as a kid.
Like, it's
This is
okay.
so bad. I just getting old though. That's all.
You don't need to know this information to survive. I've been trying to memorize social security cards and people's license plate numbers so I can slash their tires later. Like, it's just so much going on in my head. Like,
Did I hear?
yeah, no, y'all heard right.
That's funny.
People didn't leave.
Last question. What is AU on the periodic table?
AU.
What are you wearing in it?
Copper. No, I'm just trying to guess metals. It's not gold.
It is.
It is gold. AU is gold.
Damn.
There you have it. That is quarter one.
That is not the end of quarter one.
Oh, we got some more?
We got one more question for quarter one. Who won the college football championship in 2022?
That's a good one.
That is correct. That's
That
correct.
is correct.
You're correct.
Yeah, it's 2024.
Yeah. That's correct. That's correct. Okay, I'll let you go to the next one.
Guys, I had to know that.
You said you let me go to the next one?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and move forward to the second quarter of the game. My favorite, the lottery picks. This one is a lot easier than the last round. It is your personal preference. I'll pop it up. Who is your favorite artist at the moment? And that is ambiguous for a reason.
I got it with Chris Brown because he just dropped his 11 to 11.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 2 favorite artists, and everybody who knows me, my dog's named after him. It's Ko Wetzel, who's like a rock country, and then
Okay.
Chris Brown. I mean, I'll marry Chris Brown one day.
I didn't know, like, I know people like Chris Brown. I didn't know Chris Brown was people's, like, favorite artist.
Oh, Chris Brown's a legend.
He's
Not for a while. Not for a while. I mean,
No, I was-
no, he's a legend.
I would take his
was-
legend status now. Yeah, he's
No, he's a legend now. I was saying, in answering the question of, like, I didn't know he was people's favorite right
It's
now.
because you said artist. Like you would have said who's your favorite, like rapper, singer, something like that. But
Oh, okay.
Chris Brown is an artist.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel
his
that.
how he draws, he writes, he
Yeah.
Yeah,
creates,
he really is. He
sings,
really
he
is.
dances. He collaborates with like the best of the best.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
He's an
just,
artist.
It's his culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about you that people will be surprised about.
I think the biggest thing that catches people off guard is that I do jujitsu.
Yeah.
Caught us off guard as well. We're like, what the fuck?
And I'm sure everyone always asks, like, oh, so you can beat somebody up.
That's the first thing they say. So you think that you should beat me up? That's what my players say. Oh, so you think that you know?
Like,
I don't think anything. I know that I can, but
But you really could?
yeah, I do it all the time.
Okay.
That's what, yeah.
I won't name names, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Who's your athlete across, your favorite athlete across any sport?
I mean, it's sad to say, but Kobe Bryant. I mean, he was
Yeah.
plastered all over my room.
Yeah.
As a kid. Yeah, gotta go with Kobe. It's just his mindset.
Yeah.
Favorite book? Your favorite book?
My favorite book. Are we talking like an active business book?
Whatever you want.
Any your favorite book?
We did you wrong on quarter one. So I want you to be free.
Right now, I would say that one that I'm trying to like live and breathe and do every day is extreme ownership.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll look that up.
it's like it's basically just when something happens, like take ownership.
It's
of
on
it.
you.
It's very like y'all would love it. Very entrepreneurial.
Okay.
Just taking ownership of your business. When something goes wrong, you're not just like immediately mad at your employees. It's like
Okay, so it's just
why
like
do they
about
behave that way?
taking like accountability and stuff? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's an intense book. It's good.
Got it.
Favorite sports movie?
This is funny. I gotta go. It's so cheesy, but I gotta go with Love and Basketball.
It's
When you said cheesy, I thought you were gonna say Bring It On. I don't know why I thought you were gonna say Bring It On.
Oh, gross.
It's that's your favorite movie yet? That's her favorite movie.
I don't classify that as
it
a
on.
sports movie.
That is, because the way that they were throwing the girls up in the air, the tumbling, and then I did research on it, and like Gabrielle even went through extensive like training on like how to flip and how to stunt, because they were like, we don't have the budget to hire all these real cheerleaders. Y'all got to learn and figure it out.
But the thing is, it's funny. Like, grew up with like four girls in my family.
Okay.
We watched Bring It On, and we all were our own characters, and we memorized every song, every dance, every cheer.
So who were you?
So I never heard that I was Gabrielle Union.
Okay.
I never.
How are you Gabrielle Union? Don't like
Because
That's not her
well,
favorite.
because I love Gabrielle Union, but it was just I was so competitive. I was like, I'm gonna be a winner. I want to watch Bring It On. And so like, as you pick your characters, you're just
Yeah.
You picked the winner. The winning team.
For sure. Makes a lot of sense. Super weird question. We ask all of our guests, what's your soap of choice?
my what?
Soap of choice.
My soap of choice. Native. The brand.
Oh my gosh.
That's what everyone says.
We have never had an episode where that was not the answer. This would be episode like 7 or 8.
It works. Their cashmere one goes hard. They just came out with the cashmere.
This has got to be my side. I said I was gonna try it, but I buy all my
This
stuff
is
in
solid.
bulk. I buy my stuff in bulk, so I'm okay. Once I get through this,
What's your favorite?
I have never bought. I'm a
What's
dial.
your dial?
I use dial because it's the what is it called?
Antibiotic.
Antibiotic.
I'm talking to our
Probably antioxidants.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like antibacterial too.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was.
Antibiotic.
And so once I'm done with that one, I think I'm on like my last 2. I'm gonna try native, because for us to have interviewed the number of people we interviewed, and that was every single person's
It's popping.
answer, it's crazy.
Shout out to Native.
Yeah, no kidding.
Shout out to Native.
They clearly got good share too.
Yeah, they clearly got the streets on lock.
Yeah. To be
Honestly, that was probably
100%.
at Target, and everybody loves Target, so you're kind of like.
I trust it.
You said it's
No,
on the
it's
front
not-
shelves in Target.
It literally
That's
is.
why I don't
It
have that.
literally is.
No, I'll never be in Target. I'm like, what's the cheapest option?
You know, Walmart? Wild World. I get it.
Yes.
Next question.
Act out your most used emoji to the camera. So your camera's right there.
My most used emoji is like seriously like a.
No eye
You
roll.
can't be serious.
I roll got you.
I feel like that's the best one we've gotten. Most people are like, I don't know what
It'd be dumb stuff like the double exclamation point. I'm like, okay.
I think I do eye roll at least 4 times a day.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
People saying they don't want to train? Probably.
I'm late. Can you show me this?
I was gonna say with
Yeah.
people being late. Okay.
Yeah. My last question, what is one rule you live by?
Discipline. If I say I'm going to do it, I do it. So a lot of people are like, you're psychotic, like you were up till this late, you still ran in the morning. I'm like, if I say I'm going to do it, I do it. Like,
That's the
once
quality
you-
to have.
Once you break that discipline, then it's so easy. You're like, oh, well, I didn't run today. I made it through the day. I didn't do this. And it's that slippery slope. So
Yeah.
if I write something down or I set something, I'm just like, if I say I'm going to do it.
Solid.
I wish I had that, because I don't. I do not. All right, you ready?
I'm down.
All right, was that your last question?
That was my last question.
Okay, so we're going to segue into the third quarter, where we get into the true meat of why we have asked our guests to be on the show. Miss Kecia, tell us. I guess I'm not gonna ask a question first. I'm gonna leave it open ended. Tell us about you and your educational background, and then we'll pivot into some more questions after that.
Okay, so I have a doctorate in physical therapy.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I really like talking to you because my whole life I wanted to go to law school, and I did debate, I did public procedure, all the way through college. But when I was coming out of college, it was the math didn't add up. They were like, "You're going to spend $100,000 at school, come out making $60K." Like, I just kind of panicked, and I had a lot of sports injuries, so I pivoted when I was in undergrad. Changed my major to from pre-law to pre-PT, and our school had a pre-PT track. I went to St. Edwards in Austin.
Okay.
And so I pivoted, changed my major when I was like a second year, and then applied to PT school, and I went to physical therapy school in Dallas. So I went to Texas Women's University.
That's a great PT school.
It was a top of my list. It was the
Yeah.
number 1, number 2 schools that kind of go back and forth are UT Southwestern, TWU.
Okay.
But the TWU campus and professors were, I just had like a better feeling about them, better vibe and, on the visits and everything. So I ended up coming to Dallas. I knew I wanted to do grad school in Dallas because in my head, I was like, if I do PT, I only want to do sports. I'm not going to be in a hospital, so I got to go somewhere into the sports world.
Fair.
Yeah.
So I got my doctorate from Texas Women's University.
Dope.
So how much school is that? How many years of school is that?
So you go for your undergrad for 4 years, and then grad school for 3 more years. So
Okay.
7 years.
No fellowship or anything with PT?
You can do fellowships now,
Okay.
but that's something that you pay for after. You have to have a doctorate to apply for those, like
Makes
a
sense.
residency or a fellowship.
Makes sense.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Okay, so after graduating, did you go to a clinic? We're trying to lead up to like what you did before you kind of started your entrepreneurial endeavors.
Yeah, so I took a job right when I graduated at like a sports clinic, and it was like more like general outpatient orthopedics, right? Where you see the ACLs and high school kids, and you see just a wide variety of things. And so right when I got there, I was the youngest PT there, and I just knew, I was like, okay, if this is private practice, I can go out and bring my own patients in. So I had started CrossFit at that time, started jujitsu. I still was kind of in like in the bodybuilding world still, so I had some connections with NutriShop and GNC, and so I just started running that circuit and bringing my own patients in and teaching them how to get a script to go to PT, and then I have my own patients coming in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I started enjoying my job a lot more.
Okay.
And I got really fortunate at that job where my boss then was opening a bunch of new clinics. And so I was, as you know, about a year out of school, thrown into this like, hey, manage a clinic, type of situation. So I felt, confident like leading people.
Okay.
So I was a year into that job, maybe a year and a half, and that's when I got kind of poached from a company nearby that was just sports. And they were chiropractors, and they asked me to come and like start the physical therapy clinic for them.
Okay. So how old were you at the time when you were about to lead the physical therapy clinic?
26.
Oh, that's
okay.
26 years old.
That's young.
Yeah. And it was terrifying, but I had 2 avenues. It was, once I told this company, I got a job offer, they were like, well, we'll give you your own clinic. But that meant me by myself in the clinic. It's like, how do I learn? How do I grow? How do I scale? And that's just having ownership in something that I'm not passionate about. Okay. Versus jumping over and starting something, and working with other medical professionals. I'm a firm believer of just like multidisciplinary approach.
Yeah.
I'm one of those PTs, I love chiropractors. And I'm very fortunate to work with the guys who took a chance on me, because I was super young. So I took that job, started a PT clinic for them, and I was at that facility for 3 years.
Okay, so you said that you declined the job where, would the money have been better at the other job? Because you made a point to say like, I wasn't passionate about it. Yeah. And normally that's how life happens. It's like the people that are offering the most money is like, is not usually where the passion lies most of the time.
Right.
Okay.
And the money, it would be quick, because you have, so ownership and equity in a company immediately, and have your own facility. And so you're getting bonus also as the only PT. So yeah, it could have been a lot more lucrative immediately, but not long term.
Yeah.
I would, I could be stuck in that facility for 10 years just by myself.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like there's no room for like mobile.
I didn't see any vision in this company, and even if I did, it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Okay. I like the way you worded that.
Trajectory into getting into the professional athlete world, or just even into more athletic population. It was just kind of like, okay, and I still wouldn't be working for myself, which was the ladder I was trying to get to.
Okay.
So all along, you always
all along. I would never outright own that company. They were way too large.
So the big part of this is like, you knew what you wanted to do, and it was like the end goal, like even though this one might be more lucrative in the beginning, it's like, I'm gonna 1, bet on myself, and then 2, it's like it's going to take more time and maybe more work and effort, but this one is closer to my goal. I know what my goal is, and I can't achieve that goal if I go this way, even if it yields more money. Okay. Yeah. That's not something that a lot of people have. I think that like when you talk to not even like youth, like, or just talk to people our age or adults, when they are like reviewing big decisions like that in life, they realize like it makes sense. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, but it's like I followed the money and not the passion.
When you follow the money, you're not happy.
Yeah.
And I had people in my ear telling me what to do, but in my opinion, it was like if you don't bet on yourself, nobody else is going to.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I mean, it speaks volumes to who you are as a person. I mean, with your favorite book, with the extreme ownership and just your entrepreneurial path, all of that makes a lot of sense. So what inspired the curation of the athletic performance center that you have now?
Obviously one human I have to absolutely shout out is my business partner, Kayvon Frazier.
Shout out to Kayvon Frazier.
Shout out to Kayvon.
We appreciate you. She loves you.
Okay. So he was, when I moved over to this new company and opened up their facility, I had a friend who was a trainer and trained NFL players.
Okay.
He referred me to guys, and that helped with my connections with guys who live in Dallas and they don't play for Dallas.
Okay.
And so that was a good off-season market, good free agent market. And it went really well, and I was like, okay, I have a big passion for this. I started to learn. But Kayvon came into the facility, and he was seeing chiropractic there and not physical therapy. And he was terrified of me. He was just like, I didn't like the look on your face. Everybody said that you're mean. And you dry needles on everybody. I don't want needles. And he'd never come see me. Well, he ended up having a surgery, and I see him walking down the hallway, and I was like, you had surgery like 2 weeks ago. Why are you, hobbling around on here on crutches?
Yeah.
And, not to expose too much, but it was very negligent. And I was like, you got to come back here. And ever since then, we've been like this.
Okay.
He had multiple surgeries after that, and his wife would be driving him from surgery, and I'm pulling up on a Sunday to just make sure he's taken care of. He's got everything that he needs. Mm-hmm. And he was kind of the person that he was very open about the politics and the ins and outs of the NFL.
Okay.
And helped me realize, wow, there's a huge need for these guys for somebody who works with them. Not working for the team, not the NFL, not the NFLPA, not this big corporation where it's like, I'm trying to get paid myself for one football player. It's like, hey, I'm behind the scenes, nobody knows who I am, but I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we got really tight, and he started to kind of grow in the business as well with us. And so when things at that company, we were like, we can do things better, and let's just
more efficiently.
Let's just go do this ourselves.
Okay.
And that's a very short story.
After how many years?
I was there for about 3.5 years.
Okay.
So how long was the time from the time that y'all had this talk, or when y'all realized okay, we can do this on our own? How long was it till y'all broke off and literally was like, okay, we're doing this on our own?
This is a really funny story. It happened in 2 months.
Wow.
So with this company, he was trying to branch off, and he had a vision of, he had tattooed on his back, but built for it. Mm-hmm. Since he was a kid, he's like, I'm built for it. I was just saying in college, I'm built for it. So he wanted to create a gym. And once he saw what I had, that the sports medicine world, he was like, wow, we can really bridge these gaps and put it together.
Yeah.
So we were trying to open it with this company that was currently with, and it just didn't. We couldn't align. We didn't agree on how to do business, how you treat people, what was the ethical way to do it. So I was like, you know what, Kayvon, this is your dream, just go, just do it. Mm-hmm. So he opened up a really tiny gym, and so I would just go up there on Thursdays and treat players, on Saturdays, Sundays, so that it was still this good hybrid, hey, I'm still here. So we would always make this joke, because I had an extreme non-compete with the company I was with. So we always had this joke. He was like, come on, Kecia, full-time, I need full-time. And I was like, I just need to get fired, not be whoever I want.
You can't. So with the non-compete, you can't quit and go.
You can't quit.
Yeah, and you can within a certain radius as well.
Not soliciting patients, whatever.
Wow.
Well, we manifested it. Honestly, we talked about it all the time. I was like, I just need to get fired. I just need to get fired. I can't say I thought I didn't align, like I said. I was combative on board meetings. I didn't agree with how they did business. I want to do things my way. They want to do things their way. I was like, hey, this is y'all's business. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, let's part ways. I was like, deuces. I didn't break my contract. Y'all won't see one football player walk in this facility again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is what y'all want to do. And I just really don't think they thought that I'd really walk. And I did, and they couldn't hold me to a solicitation or anything. They couldn't hold me to a non-compete, but we had opened the gym so far north that it was within a radius.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 0.7 miles of my non-compete. And I was like,
that's great. There's barriers too. There's barriers to how far or how broad of a radius a non-compete can have. Because sometimes some companies will try to say you can't compete. I mean, you can't go anywhere in Texas. You can't do that. You can't say I can't have a job.
Right.
I only states
they tried to kick me out to it was something egregious, a 60-mile.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's not.
Yeah.
I gotta move.
That's literally.
I have to move.
I have to.
Yeah.
I have to move. That doesn't work. That's funny.
So I would say once we had the vision to start Built4It, it was open at 2019 at the end of the year. I was on full time December 2019, and then 2020 it was we merged and we were going.
How did COVID work out for you guys?
So COVID, I remember waking up one day I'm self-employed. what the hell?
Yeah.
Am I gonna do?
It's very scary.
But we were a small enough facility, so imagine like was there 2 owners. We didn't have any employees at this point, so the cops would come out like, "I'm only have 10 people in here at one time. Y'all can stay open because
cops actually can?
necessary." Oh, we got turned in so many times. Like,
Really?
Was it your company?
What city you guys in?
yeah, Prosper.
Oh, I can see that.
I did 100%. You said Prosper. I'm like,
Yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah.
So we had to keep our capacity to 10 people, but because I was a medical professional, it was like deemed medically necessary.
oh, okay, that worked on that.
So I would have, we would run groups all day long. Then. And so then my guys who, the athletic performance I was brand new. I've been MPT for the past 3 or 4 years at this point.
Okay.
So if they were training at a competitive gym somewhere that got completely shut down, they're like, "Can you just make some paint at your gym?" So that was my chance to be like, yes. Then they get to see our philosophies, they get to see how we train. And, most of them never left.
Yeah.
So I don't like to say that we what's the word I'm looking for? Profited off of COVID, but it bode well for us.
Yeah.
We survived it. I think that if we would have been like fear mongers, we would have shut it down and like Built4It wouldn't exist. And so it was like, we got to figure out a way to safely do this or this business will last because we just open.
So correct me if I'm wrong, the only reason why your gym was open was because you were a medical professional.
Yeah.
And you were deemed as what was it called?
Necessary.
What was the word called?
She was deemed as a necessary.
Essential worker.
Yes.
You were an essential worker. COVID was so weird because you're over here, you're a damn doctor, you're an essential worker. Me in my Hooters uniform, essential worker.
I was an essential worker.
Slaying wings. Yes. Essential worker.
People got to eat.
Business getting closed down. People got a tip.
This is funny as fuck.
I was an essential worker too. Well, I was essential.
Not 3 essential workers. We held the economy down.
And if it wasn't for us,
Who knows?
Is there an economy?
Is there America? I don't know.
I don't know. Time will tell.
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay, so honestly, I would say that COVID was COVID gave you guys a little bit of an alley-oop, and that's okay.
it did.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not like y'all went and played like injected people with COVID.
Yeah, and like try to force everybody to come see us and they
Yeah.
were comfortable.
Yeah.
We followed the rules and we were able to stay open.
Yeah.
How many locations are we at now?
We have 2 locations now.
Awesome. So there's Prosper, Texas, and
In South Lake, Texas.
ooh, this is a great location.
That is, it sounds like that'd be a
Sounds like
stupid
it's
good
That
location.
is gorgeous. God, it's gorgeous.
So do y'all have like regular workouts or is it all PT focused in some sort of way? Like what services do you all offer?
Yeah, so Built4It is a multidisciplinary facility with an athletic training performance side.
Okay.
But we also, so the athletic training performance side, we do all sports. We'll have our seasons of NFL off season, MLB off season. We have a big gymnastics program just because of my connections with USC and gymnastics. But we also have, adult fitness, youth fitness, and we do some one-on-one training.
Okay.
So it's fully operated facility.
Yeah.
It's just everything's done on a time block, so we accommodate all the groups that we have.
For sure.
But it is completely open to all. Our goal is just to get anyone and everyone comfortable with working out, and our motto is really train like an athlete.
Okay.
So you come in, like you're going to do a turf warm up, you're going to push and sled, you're going to do the med ball, like the power production, and then you're going to do the strength side. So we have tons of people coming through this facility.
Awesome.
Just to either work out, but even the medical side, we have physical therapy, chiropractic, and massage therapy. No one has to do all things. Some people come in at full surgical or hang out with PT. But the beauty of it is having a chiropractor right next door for what those
Convenience.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But we see everybody.
To be able to get medical things done in one place and not have to set multiple.
It's not like Walmart.
It's like if I get my hair, nails, toes done all in one place, you could charge me double. Like you can charge me double.
I don't know about double, but
they could. I hate driving. I don't want to go. I don't want to schedule. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to make multiple.
That's like
can I get with the chiropractor real quick? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Let's squeeze you in. It's just it's that being flexible for people because you understand their demands in there. We might have a mom in there that's really good at CrossFit, has 4 kids. And she's like, can I do this and this to be out in an hour? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. It's like the biggest thing is like we're never going to be that corporate cookie cutter everyone is treated the same in physical therapy. Like you all do the same exercise. That's not what we do.
It's very like personal fit to the specific
Very
person.
individualized, very based on necessity. Not like you have to see me 3 times a week for 12 weeks. Like we don't believe in that.
Okay.
Like shit, if you get better in 2 weeks, that makes you back on the field. Did it?
I know.
I want to see you because this will make sure that you're good. You know, maybe once a week, take you down, or once every 2 weeks. But everybody has their own plan.
That's I remember when I tore my ACL, and I was told like it's gonna take 8 months, and I went from playing basketball and then I was running track, and I was feeling great to run track. In fact, to triple jump by month 5. However, the doctor was like, "It's just not time yet. It's not ready." And I get it. I never went to med school, but I went to state. That's where I went.
You went to state on an injury?
I went to
Or
state.
coming back from an injury?
Yeah, I tore my ACL in July or August. I had my surgery in September, and then I started my track and field season in February or March. Was that? That's like 6 months ish.
Yeah, but
And I made it to state in
state
May,
would have been in April,
and I
May,
got third in state, and then I was like 10th in the country. That was the same year, same cycle.
I tore my ACL and I acted like I was sick all the time. My parents were like, you literally just can't walk. Like,
Actually,
you're not sick.
when I tore my ACL, because of my trainers in the rehab that I did, I think it's one of the best things that ever happened to me. It's actually one of the best. It was one of the best things that has ever happened to me in my life, tearing my ACL. And I thought it was the worst day ever. But I would not be the woman I am today if I did not get hurt.
I like that.
What
It's
wish
not
I made
about
on
me.
anybody? That shit hurts.
I wouldn't wish on anybody, but I needed that adversity. I needed to, I needed people to not believe in me so I can believe in myself. And here I am. The podcast is not about me. Let's get to the next question though.
All right. So walk us through how many sports, we'll go professional sports that you service at the moment. Who do you have the most clients in? Like, who do you have the most clients for? NFL. You have the most NFL clients? Okay.
That's definitely our specialty.
Sure, bread and butter. Do you have a fave?
Who you like? Like what type of treatments you like to do?
Yeah, is what I'm curious about.
I would say sports-wise, I have 2 favorites, and it's because of the need and how much value that you can actually bring in. It's not just on the he said, right? Like my clients don't come in for an hour and not talk to me again. It's like the full, like I want a case manager all day, every day. Mm-hmm. Because of the need for it. So I would say NFL and USA Gymnastics.
Interesting.
On the USA Gymnastics, that's very interesting because on the outside of gymnastics is someone that's never done gymnastics. When people think about like, training facilities, it's like there can't be that many gymnastics training facilities or people that can even like service gymnasts, right? I mean, is that common?
It's an area where we're just very blessed to be where we are. So Houston and Dallas have the most gyms and the best athletes. So there's so many levels.
Okay.
They have the most elite gymnasts, so that's above level 10. That's like I'm trying to go for Olympics. Definitely college level already. There's a lot of different tests and everything goes to get to that level.
Okay.
Texas has the most per capita for sure.
So
Dallas is a big.
So Texas. So for the location, for the area, we're filming in Dallas, by the way, guys. Gyms for gymnastics athletes aren't as uncommon as maybe other parts of the country.
Yeah, right. Like you might have one really big one in Ohio.
Okay.
Dallas, we've got like 3 very reputable ones that all produce elite level athletes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because to produce an elite level athlete, you have to get the coaches.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the hardest thing for gyms to do is you get capped out if you're at a gym that may be great, but they cap out at level 10 because their coaches don't know how to coach elites.
Yeah.
So and they're hopping around to find that gym out of the elite. Well, in Dallas, we have, 3 gyms that produce elite level athletes that have the coaches for it.
Okay.
That's a lot. Houston's got like 2, and one of them was just because Simone Biles.
I was going to say Simone Biles trained in Houston.
She has her own.
I didn't know she opened up.
I didn't know she opened up a gym, but didn't she used to train in Houston? Like, did she grow up in Houston at some point?
She grew up there. Yeah, she grew up there.
Okay.
And she's got her own facility in Houston.
Okay, and then you have all of the OU gymnasts, which shout out to Oklahoma Gymnastics, men and women's.
Battle to win the national championship.
Yep, battle to win the national championship for like what are they, 8 years in a row?
Yeah, and they
going
broke
crazy.
the record this year for the highest score ever in NCAA.
I think I saw that video.
I didn't see that. I didn't hear that. And I keep up with OU gymnasts. Are you on? Yes, distinguished. By the way.
Not distinguished. So speaking about your athletes, tell us about how you have your hands in the training of the NFL Combine. How does that look? How does that go? Do you get nervous when it comes to the time of the year? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the NFL Combine is funny. It's a huge, like a love-hate relationship. The time comes around, I'm writing it all of December. I'm just like, let me just enjoy my life as much as I can before this bullshit starts.
Yeah.
But it is, so Built for It, we do it to grab these college guys while we can and teach them the ins and outs. So you get a lot of these gyms so that is why Kecia and I have always focused on. We're going to stay true to our values and what we're good at, what our bread and butter is. And so we'll take a class of 20 guys and they get the same medical treatment that my NFL guys are going to get. They get the same, they go through, it's basically an 8 to 12 week training block. Mm-hmm. But we service them from everything from housing to food to training.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah, like they are, the second that they land, they're set up. We do exercise, nutrition, everything. It's extensive.
All the way to housing.
All the way to that. For
is this the South location?
Prosper. Right now we do everything out of our Prosper location.
Yeah.
It's easier to find housing. Next year we'll probably do it in South Lake because South Lake is a new location. We just opened it in October.
Congrats.
2023.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And so that's such a huge facility that will definitely house in there next year. But the involvement is insane because the second that I get them, I'm educating them on what is my role for you, what is medical, and teaching them. Okay, first you have to survive this age 12 weeks, but then the second that you get invited to that working committee camp, these are the ins and outs. Do this, do not do this. Talk to this person, don't talk to this person. Report this, don't report this. Keep your mouth shut, keep your head down, work hard.
You guys are really hands-on.
Yeah, it's very, very hands-on.
Every week we'll have a guest. So maybe a rookie that did pre-drop with us last year. Kaylon always is going to talk to them. Then we'll bring in, maybe the pastor who is faith-based and faith-based and educating like, hey, try to stay out of trouble. Be a good person. The better you feel about yourself, the more you're going to succeed.
Yeah.
So we'll have a different guest speaker talk to them. We have our NFL guys do a full, like a panel and talk to them about how to pick an agent. Hey, what was my first year like? How did I make it through my first camp?
Yeah.
The goal is to make it 53.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's make 53 more awesome. Yeah.
That is our goal. And if you do what we tell you to do, then we can all work together. It's when you start branching off, and you're always going to have a low speed.
Yeah.
There's excuses, or you can't stop, going out and doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
Hey, I am not your babysitter. I'm not your mom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally here to help you. And we could take your money, train you, and tell you to keep it moving.
It's true.
But we're here for you for the entire draft process. And if they make a team, so say I get a guy after the draft, he's drafted, he goes through teams back to the camp. We let them come back to our facility to train for free and so they get to have access to, 50 on any given day NFL players that come in and train with us in NFL offseason. So they're getting to train against the best. To listen to these guys and hopefully heed their advice from our payroll. You go to your first year, if you make that beat the three, don't go in these talking. Don't bump up to vet. Keep your head up. So any piece of advice that they can give them, we are trying to give them access.
This is so surprising. I'm in a good way surprised. I just was not expecting you to say that y'all did all of that at your gym, and I have 1,000 questions off of that. So I was involved in this process when I worked for the NBA Players Association, and it's called the Rookie Transition Camp, where they're set up with all of the incoming class or potential incoming class, the 60, lottery pick, all lottery picks, the first 60 picks, and then a couple 20, 30 international guys, and they go through how to pick an agent. How to know if something's wrong with their bodies, how to report things, and then there's financial wellness, what kind of accounts to set up, and then there's some other offset things, and just how to deal with women and just dating, keeping and keeping track of records. If you don't leave text messages, put it in this whole stuff like that. But we did that from a players association, and I've heard that in the NFL Players Association, which we have a guest from a previous person from the NFLPA coming on the show soon, and they said the NBA's portion of that is really, really good, but the NFL's is not. It's one of the worst prep sessions. For the athletes to get them truly prepared for their sport and everything else that encompasses their sport off the field. So when I think about a company that does this, I would have never thought.
I think that's dope.
No, it's super dope. I would never thought the gym, someone from the gym was like, no, this is what we're doing. So my next question is, if you're allowed to tell me, what does the cost of this for, you said the 8 to 12 week program? Because I've heard of other gyms it being 20 to 80,000. Like, what is the cost of
per athlete, or you want the whole totality?
Per athlete?
Yeah, per athlete. So if you do everything in totality, okay, all the housing and the food, the training, medical, at our facility is $16,000.
Okay.
So
for 12 weeks.
We're not for 8 to 12 weeks. We don't cherry pick that either, because it's not an athlete's choice if they're pro days at the end of the month. It's like, damn, you got to stay that for 3 weeks. We're not going to take you out because you want to pay per 8.
Yeah.
Okay. The combine is, for some big facilities, it's their money maker. They live and breathe for the combine. That's all that they do. And they'll take 60 guys. I'm sorry, but yes, I know all of the gyms in Vegas. No one has enough coaches to establish rapport with someone and truly take them under your wing and be like, hey, you're about to be an NFL football player. You don't have the time to spend with these guys. You should have one coach to every 6 or 7 guys, because you're tracking how much they wear. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So we just try to not lose money on it.
Yeah.
Because it's something that we like to give back. We'll never take 50 or 60 people unless we have 4 facilities.
For sure.
Okay.
So it's niche for us. It's not a big money maker, because we could, charge upwards of 30. Yeah, we use the same skills coaches that everybody else uses.
Yeah.
And some people, we have these skills coaches, that's an extra $5,000. And we have this, and we have that.
Yeah.
We have everything that everybody else.
But I feel like you're playing a long game.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what it sounds like that.
Because you know what's funny? I'll get free draft guys. They're like, well, my agent's been here. You're only for us to pay for it. When I'm done, I'm going to go see you.
Right?
That's what honestly, that's what I would prefer. Because they're like, I didn't get any medical there. My knees itch, RB. Can I just come to you and you're trying to build for it after? I'm like,
why would the agents only pay for, well, I know why, but because they establish rapport and have different agreements with certain people.
Our competitors, especially in Dallas, have been in the industry for decades.
Yeah. But they're also more expensive.
They are more expensive.
I've never heard 16,000. I've heard 28. I've heard.
That's what she said.
30s is pretty average of what I've heard so far.
Yeah.
So when you said 16, all that you do, because I've never heard of any gyms doing all of that. I thought you were going to say 50.
Yeah, no. I would say the average is probably 20 to 25 in the industry.
Okay.
And we're not trying to undercut anybody. It's just we also don't need to make $12,000 on each player.
Yeah.
When
that's
not our goal. Our goal is if you come back and train with me, you make a team, and I have you every year to season.
Yeah.
And you're doing at my facility, you're doing PT, cardio, massage twice a week, and you're training for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And so everybody. We take the combine very seriously, but we don't worry about numbers and we had 10 guys at the combine this year. We don't care, because no one can touch us when it comes to the NFL season.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one can touch Built4It when it comes to the NFL offseason. Did you hear her? So at this point, my question I was going to ask you, do athletes recruit you, or do you recruit athletes? It sounds like athletes recruit you.
Or is it a little bit of how are you?
Yeah, I've never been a believer of DMing someone and telling them, hey, come to my I just don't believe that. My work will stand for what I've done for my players. And if Kecia was my biggest advocate in the Cowboys facility, because he was like, you didn't have to look at me in that hallway. You had no time. You funneled everybody hey, you take this person, you take this person, I'm going to see him. He was like, you didn't always have to do that, but you always made time to me when I came in. And crazy schedule. Yeah. And it was the education. It wasn't talking at him oh, I'm so smart. I know about your body. Just do what I need to do. It was hey, this is what the outcome. But we were always a team.
Yeah.
And so he was the biggest advocate for me, because he would bring other guys in, and I'm just in shock at what I'm looking at. How has this been either misdiagnosed or not reported? Yeah. And for just I sense the hell out of it. I'm just mortified. And it just, I mean, honestly, it was gross negligence, but it's like, not to be dramatic, but it honestly like broke my heart because people look at them like, oh, these are these millionaires that have everything. I'm like, no, they're actually 22, 23-year-old kids at some point.
Yeah.
That are graduating college and have thrown into this, and they're in this training room with a guy like, what are you doing here? Get out of here. And they have a broken wrist. And it's like, really, dude?
Yeah.
Or, you know, the stuff that I have uncovered that has just gone completely like, oh, you're being dramatic. Get your ass back on the field. And it's the politics of the NFL. The reason I love working with them is because they need it. Like, I've had players that absolutely needed me that no one would ever even know about.
Yeah.
Because the NBA takes care of people well.
They
got an amazing player association. Some teams have 45 PTs on their team, not 2 athletic trainers.
Yeah, and the NBA has like how many players on the bench? 15.
Thank you. And they'll have 4 PTs on deck all the time to take care of them.
Yeah.
And there's a need for athletic trainers and physical therapists. And chiropractors, there's a need for all of us. But when you start overreaching your scope of what you were taught to do in school to save a company money, it's dangerous.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's dangerous and it's unsafe and it's just like you read it, tell me that an NFL team can't pay a PT salary. Like, come on.
They're the most profitable league.
There's a discrepancy between teams as well. Like, I know some teams, like the Patriots, have a great relationship with them. They have 4 PTs on staff that oversee the athletic trainer that oversees interns. That is the only team I've ever heard of that does that. But look who ran that facility for so long. You had Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So I think those are not negotiable. Like, hey, y'all get some like help in here to take care of these guys. But they see it as a revolving door. Like, oh, you're hurt, cool. We'll go to the next 22-year-old. But you're 30 years old. You can keep it moving.
Yeah.
And so it's, if you look at the longevity of profitability that they think they're saving money, and like you're actually really not.
Yeah, they're killing your players. Yeah, they've got some more in them.
A lot more in them.
Yeah. And players who can bring more people and play. Yeah, you're really not.
And have a locker room presence.
Exactly. A lot of influence. Yeah, on younger players.
So you don't DM people on Instagram at this point? It's by word of mouth now. Word of mouth. Do y'all do the advertising?
We, in what way? So, I mean, we use like Instagram ads, Facebook ads, but we rely heavily, we just grassroots market.
Okay.
You know, I think
I read that
we built for it.
We did some research. Like,
we built for it.
We're trying to do more marketing, but we're never gonna. Our work will speak for itself. Like, I'm a firm believer, a believer of that. You know, if I ever had someone come in and it didn't have a good experience, our staff knows that that's just not the culture that we have. That's not. So if you truly stayed on business of we're doing this to help people and serve people, then the money comes.
Yeah.
But if you do it the opposite way first, and I'll think, how many people do we need to see this and who do we need to get, and I want you to DM. Like, the only people we recruit is combine players, and I don't. I don't believe that's not my job. But I have also shout out to Chico and Jay. There are 2 head trained coaches, and they're absolutely amazing. And they run our combine, everything from scheduling to where the workout's going to be, programming, and because they have a lot on their shoulders. But they will recruit, talk to agents and talk to players, to like, hey, this is why we want you to come built for it. You'd be a great fit for us. But other than that, it's I've been very fortunate to work with. I've traveled all over the world doing this.
Dope.
And just by, I know all the skills coaches in the area. I work with a ton of different agents, and then I worked with, every other sport. So from having my name out there for the past 6 or 7 years, I've been blessed to not have to try to go. I just think it looks cheap if you go to find someone.
Yeah.
I'd rather them come to me and let me, after the eval, if you don't come back,
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm
cool with that.
Are you able to drop any names of who you're training currently or in the past?
As in, just the biggest names?
Like, just any names that y'all say of, examples of people that you've trained or currently training or working with.
Yeah, I would say, obviously Kayvon was a long time DHNOI, but one of my biggest guys would be, Jordan Lewis. It's funny because he didn't really, talk to me at all when I first started evaluating him. Because, another thing that I just love is that you've got two people that come from completely different cultures. So they first they walked in, I'm like, why is your name Kecia? Like, come on. They're like,
Why is your name Kecia?
I'm not about to tell this like white girl anything because I don't know who. It's just establishing. It's getting trust, you know.
Yeah.
So once I was kind of able to see those cultural barriers and stuff like that too, it really like kind of helped them start to trust me and tell me everything that I needed to know. But I mean, this dude now, I've like, actually, we go running. You know, his entire family comes into the gym. His wife brings his kids into the gym. But he's someone who needed me at times where there are people that he had in his corner weren't going to take care of.
Yeah.
So he's a big one. You know, he was comeback injury of the year last year. It's a super big deal. Like, I've never been more proud for a human like in my entire life. You know, but I worked with Tyron Smith and Tyler Crawford and Trey Lance. He's another one. It's I consider myself kind of like his manager. You know, he didn't know anybody here in Dallas aside from his amazing quarterback coach he works with. But and you know, I advise him on everything almost. And then even just shout out to my USA Gymnastics girls. I've got Sky Blakely right now. Y'all, she's winning at camps right now. She's winning at Worlds. Like, she just got a Nike sponsorship deal. But she's absolute straight A's in everything that she does.
Yeah.
Her sister's at Florida. She's one of the most motivating, dedicated individuals, and I will definitely go to Paris and watch her if she makes it to the world.
As you should. You know, I tried to get, that was what I wanted to do for my vacation this year, go to the 2024 Olympics. I waited way too long to get tickets to where I was so sad.
Just go down there. Paris still got bed bugs, so that's what I was like.
The thing is, like, maybe
I was just there. That's why I was like,
Okay,
I was supposed to go to Paris, and because I flew into London and I did Bournemouth, I did London, Bournemouth, and then I did Amsterdam, Berlin,
I love Paris,
and Poland. And I was like, but there was supposed to be a stop in Paris for 2 days, but they were like, oh, the bed problem isn't that bad. Excuse me? They're super hard to get rid of. So I was like, I can't afford to make that stop because I can't
do that.
Literally cannot finance shutting down my apartment. You know, you got to do the heat treatment and stuff. It's expensive.
No way.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
I went to Paris in 2018. I was in Paris when France won the World Cup. It was one of the best trips I've ever had in my entire life.
Wild.
It was. I didn't go to sleep for almost 48 hours. The city was ridiculous. People were on their knees.
And you know the French love to riot. They gonna throw a nice little riot.
And you know, soccer is like a religion out there.
Oh, yeah.
So,
sure.
Yeah, and so it was crazy to watch it at the Eiffel Tower.
That's where you watched the game?
That's where I watched the game.
Yeah, no, that's like a movie.
I was like, this is where dreams start.
Dude, is that right now?
Yeah, hey now. That's how I was feeling. I was feeling like that. This is what dreams are made of.
Why did you sing that song?
That's how I felt.
Infamous.
This is back. I had to take this back when I went to Paris. So I have a question. We're kind of getting more into our more intimate questions, kind of fourth quarter vibes. So what does a professional day look like for you? Related to, obviously, PT, like, what does it look like?
So being a hybrid now is like being like a business owner and a PT.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to train, and trying to like run 2 facilities. So my weeks and days are absolutely insane.
I bet.
What's your start and stop time? Like, what time are you waking
You have to be able
Well,
to
I get up at 4:30. But I have to work out in the morning because one, it puts me in a good mood when I get to work, and I don't know what my day's going to end like. So if I don't do it and I'm in meetings or something like that at 7 o'clock, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
But I usually get to the gym around 7 or 8 every day, and I have, I bought right now it's NFL off season, right? So I'll treat my players that have workers' comp injuries, so like ACL tear, with pec train, whatever. And so I'm running to do all of their rehab, and then I might go to the South Lake location and
see what's going on there.
Manage that location, take care of that schedule. So I treat probably 50% of the time, and the rest of the time is kind of trying to make sure that my medical staff has everything that they need, and then deal with insurance and all the admin stuff.
All the beauty.
But it's a lot of it's a lot of programming, because if I have a player, so then they all just left for OTAs, and I got a program what I want them to do while they're gone.
Explain to the audience what OTAs. Or
That's just like the optional shrinking camp, but it's not optional.
It's mandatory.
what does it stand for again?
What?
OTAs.
Optional.
Organized team activities.
Oh, wow.
And it's not optional training. It's like you have to go.
Yeah.
Unless you're a vet, you can have your excuses. So like, well, I'm getting married. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm not going to be there till this time. But as a rookie, most of the people are reporting OTAs on Monday.
Yeah. As a rookie, move the wedding. You're not getting married today.
Don't do it. So I was saying, like, my day-to-day is, like, I try to get all my treatment in first. I try to get my meetings done, and then my admin stuff done at night.
Okay.
So,
Makes sense.
yeah, so it's about, like, 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock every day.
Yeah. Entrepreneur.
No, that is.
It's also you're an entrepreneur.
And it's not long-term. Me and my business partner, we're
Eventually
always kind of talking about, okay, how do we, eventually phase you out of just treating all the time? Because PT schools are phenomenal. They're going to teach you your foundational, how to, put your hands on people and how to treat people. Mm-hmm. I have a specific way of how we treat evaluations and what you need to be looking for. So my forte is in getting them to where I am now, that I had to do all of my own. I mean, it took me years of asking questions of not understanding the political landscape of the NFL. So that's the first thing. So I try to hire my students. So, with DPT, you have to take you do a lot of clinicals.
Yeah.
So if I have someone do a 12-week clinical with me and they absolutely crush it, I try to hire them because then it's a working interview.
Yeah,
you didn't piss me off for 12 weeks. You don't know.
You didn't piss me off. It's true, though.
It is, because you can hire someone and you think they're great, and then they get to work and you're like, okay, you walk slow. You have to listen to
don't listen.
You talk way too much.
She said you walk slow as the complaint the first complaint. You walk slow.
If y'all walk into Built4It, there's not one employee in there that's gonna walk slow. Because
everyone's out there.
On level 10
We got stuff to do.
Day.
You
So
walk
when there's
slow.
that person that walks slow, I'm like, hey. And if it's a trainer too, I'm like, Chico,
Get them out of here.
handle it. Because it just shows like you're not passionate. When you're there, there's an energy when you walk into Built4It. We're laughing, we're chopping up, everybody's having a good time. But when there's a time to be serious and get your shit done. So when I start to see the whole like, oh, Kecia and Kayvon are so cool, and they don't walk around. No one calls me dog. Like, I'm Kecia to everybody, and it's Kayvon to everybody.
Yeah.
No one's nervous when we walk in the building, but there are times where I'm like, well, they'll take advantage of it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Don't get comfortable.
Yeah.
So are y'all looking to hire interns over the summer? We got a couple young viewers. We have a lot of young viewers.
We have internships available for the training side.
Mm-hmm.
We have internships available for chiropractic. We have internships available for PT. So anyone looking for an internship, you do have to interview for it because of the nature of our clients and everything. But you ace that interview. Yeah, we love to give back, because if you don't give people those opportunities, they don't even know what's out there.
Yeah.
Jesus. No, what she said is true.
I was trying to say.
What she said was so true. When I started my legal profession, it made me realize, like, oh my God, I don't even know what is out here. I wish I did before, but I didn't even know the things that I can do with my law degree. Yeah, and it's just like, wow. And then when you think of your degree, so like I met even with like your DPT, like when I thought of my law degree, I mean, they teach you the law kind of, but not necessarily the entrepreneurial paths on how you can utilize.
It's good to hear you say that, because I was so hard on the DPT program. I was like, y'all set us up for failure. You set us up to push us into the hospital system.
Yeah.
And it's bullshit.
Yeah.
You didn't teach us anything about private practice.
Nothing.
About health insurance.
Same.
About how to understand money and cash versus interest.
Scaling, they don't. And you kind of, but in a lot of ways, that's why I like a lot of the things that you talked about. And I keep going back to that book, Extreme Ownership, because that is a big deal when it comes to entrepreneurship. You really do have to you have to be built different. I'm not trying to be so corny, but at this point, I'm using you do have to be built different to see what you went to school for and extract it and then place it in an entrepreneurial standpoint. That's a completely different realm. You could be at any hospital.
I could be, and that was, so when I left my first facility before I came on and I opened Built4It, it was kind of like, do I go, I do have a rehab director for my title now on my resume. Do I go run a hospital?
Yeah.
I mean, you could make $300,000, $400,000 a year doing that, just off rip, just not signing your name on it without anything. Or do I, I'm a firm believer in PT, and I hope that if any PTs watching this, they believe that. But our schooling is aggressive.
It is intense.
Teaches you, we spend the most time with our patients, and we get to do cadaver lab. And if you really hone in on what you really want to be good at, you're the quarterback of every single situation.
Makes sense.
So I have a player come in, and immediately I know if I'm sitting on for x-ray or MRI, or if I need to refer out, I'm calling the orthos. I have a whole team to where I'm not relying on anything that's outside of my control.
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Hey, this player can do it. Right? It's all about networking and connections, and not having an ego. Like, I don't have all the answers, but I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. Because I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing this for the money. So if I got to send you elsewhere, I got to send you elsewhere.
This is what it is.
But PTs in the sports medicine industry, like, there's a skill set that you can develop, and what you can do with a PT degree. You don't have to wear scrubs every day and you get to have a really cool fucking job.
That would be cool.
There's days where I'm in the clinic, but I'm in a gym, and I might be out on the field.
Yeah.
And then and then I'm going to different meetings with agents, and then I'm out at the combine, and and I'm traveling with different players, whatever they need me for. I'm going to travel, So travel for a lot of NBA stuff. So it can be a really cool job, but it's a lot of work to get there.
Of course.
So the biggest issue that I have is someone trying to get a job from me. I'm like, I want your job. I'm like, okay. Hey. But they want the glitz and the glamour, but they don't.
Not the word.
The word.
The word.
Okay, I was here 8 to 5. I'm like, if you're not answering your fucking phone on a Sunday, then no one's gonna.
You're not
gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then it is good to point out that how you said, if you're not answering your phone, they're gonna go somewhere else. I have friends. I went to Oklahoma, so a lot of the players went to the league, and the stuff that I witnessed them call their agents for, and I'm like, bro, and they're like, hey, agent, blank blank. Can you make me a reservation here? And I was like, bro, you don't need a reservation at Cheesecake Factory. We can walk in. Why are we calling the Cheesecake Factory for 2? Bro, we can literally
go to the bar.
It's just the most ridiculous things ever sometimes. And the nature of an athlete that's even made it to that level has been handheld up to that point, if we think about it. It's like you have people from Oklahoma, Ohio State, they're not doing anything on their own. They get to college, their schedule is made for them. You go, the fat players, you get there 5 a.m. workouts. The O-line, you work out at 5:30. You go to tutoring at 10 a.m. and then you're done. You go to classes from 10:30 to blah, blah, blah. And it's all laid out. They don't even do their own laundry. Leave your laundry here. It'll be here when you come tomorrow. Nothing is done for them. So it's if they've made it to the professional level, they're not going to just up and start doing stuff on their own.
No.
But to me, it's a systemization, and I don't like it. Because I've had players that come in and they're like, well, I wanted to do business and play football. But they told me that's
we talked about that on the podcast.
And I'm like, you don't let some counselor or some school that
don't know
tell you got to do kinesiology.
Oh my God.
Because the average NFL career is 2 to 3 years.
You're not. Oh my gosh.
What are you going to do with a kinesiologist?
You're
talking to someone who has one. I had to get a doctorate. What the hell am I going to do with this?
Right.
Anytime it
breaks my heart.
Systemization, because we're telling you exactly what to do, and you're doing it, and you're not thinking for yourself. And the NFL is exactly the same. Do exactly what we tell you to do, and don't think for yourself.
But how do we get? It is systemization, and sometimes it's very, very difficult to see a way out, because especially these large universities, you have it more so affects football more than any other sport. It seems like every other sport, when they get recruited, if they open up their mouth and you're the number 10 recruit in Texas, you're like, well, I wanted to major in chemical engineering, but those classes are during practice. Something is being worked out behind the scenes, and it's like, okay, this chemical engineering class, they are now offering at a second time to accommodate your schedule. But with football programs, it seems like they're not making that extra push. Some schools will do it for certain athletes, but you tend to see the athletes that really push and are like, well, I can't go to your school if you don't have this degree plan. One of those are primarily the football players that know, I'm good at the collegiate level, but I'm not going pro.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really cannot
I need to make sure I
But then you have Dawn Stanley with South Carolina. Dawn Staley.
She created a whole major
that was not present at South Carolina for a player that came in with a 4.6 GPA.
But it makes sense.
On a 4.0 scale, and she has a 4.0, killing honors courses, AP classes, and she's like, I I need, this is the
I need
age I
to-
want. I can't go to the school.
Yeah, I need to-
and she made it happen.
And it's doable.
It's definitely doable. It's just changing the time of the class.
But and it's with the football players.
So easy.
And now the NIL deal are going to play a big part into it.
Oh, well,
You know, it's like it's changed the whole trajectory of the political landscape of football. But to me, like, do I want these players to get paid? Absolutely. But it is a double-edged sword because now it's also, okay, now my education doesn't even mean anything at all. And I'm not one of those people, like, I don't believe in getting an education just to say you have a bachelor's degree. Like, if you need to go get a welding degree or go to be a hairdresser,
Specialized training,
please do that and make $100,000 a year versus getting a general education degree for nothing.
For nothing.
Yeah.
But these guys have a free education.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to make it out. And, you know, it's a, 10% make it to the NFL or less. And now you're in the NFL for 2 to 3 years. NFL players do not make enough money to live on that salary.
The average NFL player. We're not talking about
We're
Tom
talking
Brady.
We're not talking about the people with like
Talking about the average.
the average person who maybe got drafted 5th round through 7th round.
And there are about
And they're in there
400
2
active
years.
players. About 450 active players.
More than that.
Or
On the 53 probably.
Yeah.
I'm
It's on
like,
the actual 53 man roster.
yeah, it's about 400 like active players, and so it's like when we say average of 400 out of 400, how many can you name on top of your head? Like it's a solid like 30. They're the outliers.
But-
Okay.
And so it starts in college, I feel like, where they're just being told what to do, and then they do this draft prep. But then you go to the combine. Have you ever been to the combine?
No, I have not.
I don't even know if I can say this, but I mean, honestly, that's what it is. It's modern day slavery.
I've
is.
heard that from the athletes before.
The way that they schedule the players from the way that they treat me, I'm like, if I watch another scout walk up and grab one of my guys on the back of his shirt,
Really?
Ooh, it's
you're
here.
an adult. But they harass them with the questions that they ask. They keep them up 5 a.m. to 12 o'clock at night. Meetings, do this. So some athletes get it easy because they may not be at that level, you know, like I'm going to get drafted first, second round, third round, fourth round. But it's anything that we can do to break you. But also the way that they treat them. They talk like, we have a bunch of animals in here and we're trying to just pick. They don't talk about them like they're human.
Yeah.
They talk about just talking about having them walk through and take all their clothes off and weigh in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And the medical side, the way that so I prep every single one of my guys and they're like, God, geez, why is it hard?
You said prep them.
Because the doctor's going to come in and try to rip your legs off and crank everything. So if they say, like, you got a hamstring, they're going to put your knee to your face to see if you have hamstring mobility. So they're going to get you ready to not grimace on any type of orthopedic test they'll put you through. And so, you know, in this past combine, I had Darian Jones, Jada, huge shout out to Jada.
Wait, Darian Jones, is that Florida State?
Okay.
Yeah.
He's one of the most special human beings you'll ever meet. He listened to everything that I said, was just like absorbed everything like a sponge. But he was him. It's not like, oh, Kecia told me to do this. Like, we were a team.
Yeah.
But he's still, like, J-Nub's gonna be J-Nub. He doesn't give a hell. Like, he doesn't give a shit about what anybody else says. He's gonna be himself, but he's smart and very strategic with his movements.
Yeah.
But he knew, no one had ever told him that he had, an issue with XYZ. And I told him, say, hey, but we're not gonna get screened for it. I'll get you past this for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to his buddies got flagged for the exact same thing. And he was like, because he was just like, oh, I didn't know. Like, that hurt when you did this. And I was like, but we were prepped and trained through all of that. But the fact that these guys can put a guy through 6 MRIs in 2 days,
That's crazy.
that's safe.
I was gonna say, is that safe?
Because teams don't want to share information. So it might be like, okay, well, like the Bears
We
want
wanna see this,
but the Bucks want this, and then the Packers want to do this.
That's a lot.
And, like, if they might call them, like, hey, they're on the lunch, like, hey, we want one more MRI. And I had a player last year walk out of an MRI because he's like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm claustrophobic. I'm sick of it, and I'm going on. And I was like, hey,
Well, isn't it like certain like rays in an MRI that you're not supposed to be 6 in a day? Like
6 in a day is outrageous.
yeah,
So-
so you'd be amazed.
That's crazy. That's really
is the
crazy.
NBA combine equivalent like that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I was like, hey, there's no way the
I
NBA
said,
is like that.
they go and hoop.
Yeah, I said absolutely.
But
I've been
you were talking
Sorry.
about what's the smartest thing that the NBA could possibly do is like, can you play against pros or can you not?
Period.
Versus the NFL trying to figure out like how many times a DB can bench for.
Right.
Like, that shit doesn't translate. None of it translates. I get the concept of it, but the way that they run it and the way that they treat the athletes, the way that they talk to them, the way they try to just break it the whole week and they feel like it's miserable. I'm like, this is disgusting. I don't like supporting it.
Yeah.
But it's something that we have to do to get you to the next level. And an invite to the combine is a huge.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, hey,
because they only invite how many?
You're absolutely elite. I don't know.
They invite. I don't know how much. I thought, is it over 300 or not even? Is it around 300?
I have a list in my office of everybody who's invited to combine. It might be it.
I think it's three.
I think it's
300
like
to
8
355.
Yeah,
I have 8 pages
not
by position.
But I'm not saying means you've noticed this year. This was the last year and this year, the first year, where some guys are like, I'll go, but I'm not performing.
Who
also-
did perform? Was it Kevin Williams that didn't do something at the combine?
It was
USC?
and it was Marlon,
335. I was close.
the receiver, famous receiver,
I don't text.
We know what school?
Ohio State.
Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harrison.
He didn't do a damn thing. And people complained about it, but I was like, I get it. You get invited to the combine, compete, perform, but also you can, 1, get hurt, and 2, I get it. It's like, hey, stick it to Nick, because they've been sticking it to y'all for years. Like, oh, you think I'm gonna go? He didn't even do medical.
Wow.
That's unheard of.
But he has
That
to
is
do medical to
very
get into the league, right? There has to be some medical evaluation. Okay.
It's a play physical. You don't have to do
But all that
anything.
extra,
Combine.
all that extra
All
stuff.
that extra. He
Yeah.
didn't run. He didn't. He's like, look, I proved what I can do on the field, and I'm not going
The
to
whole time I was at Ohio
doing
State.
this,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to do it. But the NIL is giving them I think it's giving them the confidence.
Oh, because they're making money.
Because I went to an Arkansas game this past year for one
Yeah.
of my running backs, just like a watch in. And these guys are walking out of the locker room with chains and
we're
like,
chilling.
You know, they're
No, like literally
they're
in the face mask.
Yeah.
already.
Teeth. I'm like, oh,
and everything.
Yeah.
platinum crown.
Yeah.
20-year-old kids from these NIL deals. So I'm like,
And what else
they're
do you
going to start
spend
to
your money
feel a
on?
certain type of way, but they're also they're breeding a different culture. It's not
breeding
the
a
same.
different
The culture is
Sure.
definitely going to change. We had a guest on here, Rakazadi from SMU, who really took advantage of his NIL eligibility because he was at SMU 2 years without NIL, and then the last 2 years were with NIL. And he is an artist of his own. He does paintings and drawings.
Beautiful paintings.
Very, very nice. And he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't allowed to sell his art under his name
Initially.
Like, you can post it, but you can't say it's from you.
He wasn't allowed to say that. He
Yeah,
wasn't allowed to say.
he couldn't post it on his Instagram. Had to be a separate social media. Yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
I mean, it's changed now because of NIL. But he said, there's going to have to be a limit or a cap on NIL within the next 5 to 10 years because
Yes.
we spoke about it on the podcast. It was you're going to have players sitting in meeting rooms with the coaches and they're making double the coach's salary. The egos are about to go crazy.
Yeah.
Because
It's true.
it's going to be some added regulation.
Yeah.
If I know the American government, they're going to take some of it. They're going to get some. They don't get
All
that
of
cut.
it are going to take.
Yeah, the college
Oh,
is gonna
yeah,
say
yeah,
something.
yeah. Because your name, image, and likeness, like if you would have went to, this D2 school, you would not be eligible to get this much, and it's going to be something.
It's going to be something. I mean, it's, name, image, and likeness just got started, so we're like at the very beginning of it. But I wanted to touch on something that you initially had spoke about. You were talking about your hours and how, an athlete's going to go somewhere else if you don't answer the phone on the Sunday, right? So how does that affect your dating life? What does your dating life look like to the extent that she wants to disclose?
Non-existent.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 35 and I'm single and I've got no kids. But it's like, I wasn't that, I have a twin sister, right? So she was that real girly girl, married and have kids.
Yeah.
She homeschools her kids. She's the best mom, very smart, like just a very eclectic, cool person. I didn't ever, I was like, maybe when I'm 25, I won't have kids. Maybe when I'm 30.
Yeah.
Then I get 35 and I'm like, I still That's all that I do. Like for my players, like if y'all just even saw one day, just a day in the life, you would be like. There's a lot of times like we hired a new employee, and I was like, you guys aren't on yet. And it's just a joke. But I'm sitting in the break room, and the guys are like popping their hand, like, hey, Kecia, so let's just go to the doctor. I'm like, yes, I'll set the doctor's appointment for you. So it's all day like how to take your medicine, what I want you to do at night. Did you make it to your doctor's appointment? Did you do your programming? Did you make your flight? Did you? And it's just to be that person that they know and they trust. I'm like, I'm gonna, whatever I tell you to do, it's in literally what I believe is in your best interest. I have zero ulterior motives.
In your face.
I don't charge money for it. I don't. So, but I do. I already feel like I have a ton of kids because I'm micromanaging the day-to-day life of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Every day.
But it has to be like very exhausting. I saw posts on social media, And it was like, imagine having the worst of your life and someone walks up to you and calls you mommy. Stressful. It's like, oh my gosh, I had the worst day at work.
I don't have kids yet,
No, I would like kids, but like,
that's actually funny though.
As of recent, I'm like, I had a horrible
worst day ever.
Like literally, I had the worst day at my full-time job. I'm a project manager, and I was like, oh my gosh, I stayed at the office till like 7:00 p.m. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, what if I had to go home and cook for people and like had to like breastfeed, and somebody's like, girl, where are you at? I'm like, I can't walk. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Pick me up.
I'll do your composure.
And I got so stressed in that moment. And I was like, oh my gosh, we can't do this right now. Like, you can't do this right now.
Right now. Everybody says there's like a time, And it's like, because my day, like, even if I'm done with patients and meetings, I go home and then I have to do all my documentation. And I have to go, and it's like, oh, I checked that email, but I had to check this email.
Right.
But also, it's hard for me to manage my house.
I bet.
And it's like, oh,
laundry,
she was my air filter, my laundry, and I'm like, damn, I left my dog outside for 12 hours today.
You might need an assistant.
I need an assistant.
You might need one.
So bad. I just haven't organized, like, do I want an assistant at work or an assistant in my personal life? Or
you have to organize that as well.
Can you just, like, do
everything? Yeah.
It's like, hey, I need to make a phone call to, like, I just bought a house, right? So I'm just
congrats.
Like,
congratulations.
Finally moving back to, like, where I want to be.
Yeah.
But trying to manage, like, moving, like 35, I call my mom, like, hey, I'm almost Friday, can you come at the house? So it's hard, and I can honestly, the one thing I would say I'm not proud of is I haven't found that balance.
Mm-hmm. But that's okay.
It's okay.
I don't think that's anything to be like embarrassed of, because the coaches that we've had on, we had Oregon's O-line coach, Elite Terry, and then we had South Oak Cliff's O-line coach. Zach, what's Zach's last name? The voice of the trenches. Zach, the voice of the trenches, and he.
What is his last name?
I don't know. Collins.
Zach Collins.
His
wow.
social media is not his last name. Yeah. Okay, Zach Collins from South Cliff, and we asked about their daily life, and they were just like
non-existent.
They said non-existent because the hours that they're working. They said, Zach specifically said, I don't have time to argue with somebody because they hear my phone going off at 2 a.m. and it's actually an athlete, and it's like, oh, that's in a different time zone, or the league's at a different time zone because he's in Oregon, so he's like, everybody else is way ahead of us.
They're accessible to their athletes.
And you have to be.
And you have to be.
And for me, it's hard for me because it's like, do you date someone that is in the industry and understands what you're going through? Because my phone's going to blow up, and you're going to see Will, Trey.
You're going to see some.
Can you handle it? Like, can he handle it?
Kate, my business partner, Kate, it's like, Kate, I'm calling at 11 o'clock. And I'm like, if you feel any certain type of way about me responding to my athletes and I didn't get up in this business
to argue about that. Yeah,
and then just being a woman in the sports industry,
the male-dominated
industry, we have to be very specific and articulate, pay attention to who we're dating, because that shit can go left so fast. It's it's a very specific type of man. You have to be. We talked about it earlier today. You have to be confident in yourself and know who you are as a man. To know, I am the only woman in a room of 100+ men. Yes, I am getting phone calls, and you look at my phone and it's a man's name. I still got to answer this question, and sometimes I might have to leave the room because this is proprietary information. You can notice, and you because there's certain times where I'm like, I can't be in the room.
It's true
when this is going on. This is getting released at this time. I mean, I had to tell my dad went over for the Orange Bowl. I'm like. He's like, who the 4 teams? I'm like, this don't come up from the 2. I can't
say anything.
Because we already got Nick Saban and what's his name, Bob Stoops flying in. But those flights are already booked. You got everybody booked, and you cancel whatever flights don't get taken later. But it's like when we announced that on ESPN, the coach is already in the room. We're already okay, this is announced. We already got buses ordered. The buses are going to get wrecked. You got. I'm answering my phone, and sometimes in sports they call your phone for the dumbest shit ever. It's 3 a.m. Do you know where you placed the? Excuse me. You can't find a sock. At 3 a.m, you just want to just get another sock. You got to be a confident person.
You're accessible.
You have to be a confident person. But I think dating is very difficult on the woman's side, I think men have definitely an easier time dating when they're in sports.
Markedly easier.
Oh my God.
I mean, how many females are just like blowing up your phone?
I think as a woman, and I actually have a specific question regarding this, but I think as a woman in general, when you're working in the sports space or in a space where you're a minority, right? You have to be more strategic. You have to.
As a woman,
it just comes with it. It just comes with it. But my next question was, how has navigating this athletic world and entrepreneurial athletic world been as a woman? Obviously, I guess you have an experience as a man, but just your experience.
Good point.
Just your experience.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
unless you don't think of it that way, or
I don't wake up every day like, oh, like my life is hard because I'm a female.
Right,
I'm very privileged and I'm very blessed to do what I do. Mm-hmm. But there are opportunities and you can say what you want, but I have missed out on business opportunities because I wouldn't go out on a date with you. Mm-hmm. Or I would, and usually it's your older men or something like that, and they're calling you like, hey, I got an opportunity for you at this facility over here. Mm-hmm. I'll show it to you. I've got this many players, and then it's like, how would you like to go over down? I'm like, no, and then they ghost you.
You talk about the follow up afterwards.
Yeah,
like, it's like, okay, I'm doing this. Like, do you feel weary about like, okay, this is interesting, but like,
yeah, I mean, it's
what else?
I need you to just go, let me tour the facility. I don't need you to take me to dinner.
I don't need to go out to eat.
So the second that you're like, I'm good on dinner, but I can meet you at 10 a.m. for
I can do business.
And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're not going to.
Yeah.
So I would say that's one issue to where it's like, okay, I would really just like that opportunity because now I see someone else in that space.
Yeah.
And you just goes to me off of like me not going on a date with you. That's not cool.
Yeah.
And you get that, and it's very frustrating because it's like, well, if I had my business partner do it, then like we could have had this deal. Well, then,
right.
But I'm like, oh, fuck you, like.
But also, it's also a slippery slope. If the one time that you say, you know what, this deal could, offset my career, and you say yes and you do it, it's gonna follow. You're gonna have to maintain it.
You're gonna have to.
No, you're gonna have to.
They have to maintain it. But
basically,
I'm like, if you either take me seriously or you don't. I'm not gonna do business with you if you don't take me seriously.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And y'all would die in this story. So go be a business, an entrepreneur and stuff. So you get in and out of business, right, with people and deal with stuff, and that's why I was like, it's very interesting to talk to you because we've dealt with a lot of lawyers the past few years. So we're in mediation, just for random stuff, and mediation's usually done by a judge who's retired and old,
hanging out. Yeah.
I mean, this man says to me when we're finished, he looks at my business partner, was like, hey, come sign these papers. Okay, he signs them. He's like, come here, little girl, sit down beside me and sign these papers. Thank you. Silence.
Just silence from everybody.
And I'm like, I'm not the one. Like,
period.
That was a mistake.
I would say that.
I don't care who you are.
Yeah,
come here, little.
It was the little girl. I've never cringed so hard in my life, and I'm just like, I will not be spoken to like that.
Period.
My heart would have been.
Not you say period.
I probably would have bust out laughing because when I get nervous, I'm like,
I can't even say what I said because I was so mad.
Yeah.
And I was like, I paid you your money. This is done.
I paid you
for shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Did you didn't say anything?
Yeah.
Because people need to know
that's so belittling.
That's not, and it's in the meetings, like when you're in some of those type of meetings, like there's no eye contact with me, and I'm like, I owe 50% of this business too.
Facts.
Like these are my bills, my paying too. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes dealing with that with agents, if there's 4 of us, like our squad, like our team that's going to combine, I am the only female.
Yeah.
But I have a lot to offer, and I've been doing it for a really long time. Yeah. But when I start to say something, they're like, and I'm like, okay.
About that, because I was looking at your combine photos and I noticed what you were wearing. You were like a Nike Tech.
Yeah.
Was that intentional? What?
No.
What was the specific? What
not necessarily like the Nike Tech, but like, were you intentional about wearing something that covered up your legs and your arms? Like you had little body showing. Like,
I just always in those type of like settings. Mm-hmm.
You think
just always do.
So it is intentional.
It is intentional.
You have to be strategic.
You have to be strategic. But I also know there's one Instagram is going to be the death of anything real
for sure.
But you see, it makes me really sad when I see women trying to build up in the industry and they're just showing their bodies, but they're trying to train NFL athletes. I'm like, you look at my Instagram and it's literally
you're at work. You're at work.
You're at work. But it's like you have to, they have to know that you're also a human being and you do have some personality.
Yeah.
But it's not I'm trying to show everybody what I look like, because then I've been doing it long enough, and I do have a lot of respect in the industry to where people, they talk, and so I hear and see everything.
Yeah.
So it makes me sad when I hear some of my players talking about like a trainer in another facility, and I'll just go with you, what's she supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like, well, you should go train with her. Like, I was like, that's...
It's
and so
ugly.
then I'll go train with that person for 2 or 3 days, but like, then they come back to where shit's real.
Yeah.
Or it's
The quality.
The
quality.
The quality. And so it's trying to break, like, you know, you're dealing with a bunch of like people who are relatively the same age, all in one facility.
Yeah.
So I actually tell my people, like, just take yourself very seriously. Don't take shit off of anybody. You don't have to respond to shit. You don't have to take shit off of anybody. Mm-hmm. And because here, you know, some of my younger PTs have like the agent called, we talk to them. I'm like, all that. Like, you know what to say. You got it.
Yeah.
Let me listen to you. Like, I remember the first agent that called me, and I'm just like, what am I nervous for? You don't know shit that I'm about to tell you.
You're calling me.
Yeah. So if there's anything that, like, that's been a big passion of mine too. I try to hire younger PTs because I have a certain standard of like, I want things done. Of what's the Built4It way? You're not going to just come here like, oh, I've been doing sports for 5 years.
You need to train them.
And I'm like, what are you doing? But I can train them. I want them to. But also, we want all our employees to grow in the company and be very successful. And I want people to stop calling Built4It saying like, hey, who was it, Kecia? Who was it, Kecia? I was like, hey, we just are Built4It's the best.
Period.
We don't care who we see. And so that's the next.
That's a solid leadership model though.
Yeah, so that way, as I phase myself out, I can be documenting like evaluations and teaching people about regenerative medicine and continuing to help my staff grow and how to program. They have questions about contracts or like, if injury settlement, what do I do? And what, you know, helping them on that so that, because I can't do all that.
Yeah. Yeah. You have any more questions, Jordan?
No, I know. I was looking at the time. I was like,
we've been chatting.
We kept you way too long. I hope we didn't make you wait for anything.
No. We're having a great time.
Yeah, we were great. It does seem like we could go on for a long time with Miss Kecie.
I got one more question.
Go ahead.
One thing that we like to ask for the Playbook Diaries podcast is, so what's the play? What's next? Basically, if your future self was watching, you know, this episode, like, what's the plans? What's the plans for Kecia?
The plans for Kecia were, Kayvon and I are going to open up more facilities so that we want to spread the word of Built4It, but also just provide people with a really fun work environment. So the more that we do, the more people that we can change their lives.
Yeah.
So we don't want to stop at 2 facilities. So we want to get to eventually where we have like 5 or 6 facilities that are kind of running themselves. And then I want to just continue consulting and like just helping people in any way that I can.
In Dallas or across the country?
She's
global.
Just all over.
She having athletes in the Olympics.
Yeah,
she's global.
I need gyms that call and they're like, hey, we don't have our medical looking, you know, and I don't have the time to call them like, well, this is what we did in that work. I don't know at all, but I would like to do a little bit more consulting, but also help younger PTs. I want PTs to be seen and taken more seriously in the sports world.
Yeah.
So that's
what's next. Well, you heard it first at the Playbook Diaries podcast. Once again, my name is Nicole.
And I'm Jordan.
And this is the Playbook Diaries podcast where there is a story behind every single play. Catch y'all later, but let's get it.